We first met many years ago, almost 20 years ago. We met.
More than 20 years ago. We had 20 years anniversary last year in November.
Right, we met when we were both newborn in the hospital. And, oh, just kidding. We met and we decided that it was going to be like just maybe a featured project. I was going to be featured, one of the many singers on one of his albums, the first full set album he was making. And then we had a really good connection and we decided that, you know, we would go further. And from there we've been making records together ever since.
Well, there are probably different things that happened that was really like very exceptional for us. First real accident, if you might say so, was being number one in America with a song that I wrote and went to the charts there. That was like just not planned at all because it was an instrumental song. I always wanted to have like a vocal band, so the stuff we did on that first record was like filler music, and that really hit the nerve in the States. So that was quite surprising. And then we had really great shows and concerts. And one of the highlights was like playing before David Bowie in Stadthalle in Vienna. That was really exciting because it was a very big crowd. And very emotional actually for me was the 20 years anniversary we did in Vienna in November, last Vienna, because there was just a lot of people celebrating with us, and that was just really nice.
Yeah, for me, it's really important to be with a musical partner that we have a connection, and so when you have a connection, you manage to make it work no matter what the distance is. And then with today's, you know, high technology, we can do all kind of things from afar. You know, we can record from far. You know, when we get together, it always never feels strange. It feels still like exciting and fresh still. And I think the distance has never been a problem. You know, yes, it would be nice to just call Peter in the morning and say, hey, you want to go have a coffee and write a song? But that hasn't, you know, but we can't always do that. But mostly it works just fine all these years.
Yeah, especially also for this new record we just did, which will be released on the 27th of June. Kelly just called me and said, hey, do we have a record deal still? I said, yeah, we still have one, because we were kind of, you know,
taking a break, a long break.
You know, taking it easy. And she said she's connected with some guys in Nashville, Tennessee, like real top-notch producers, if I would like to try them out. And I said, yeah, of course I would, you know. So we hooked up, we flew down there together, and we produced 6 songs with these guys, Shannon Sanders and Drew Ramsey. It's like really good producers in Nashville. And so we had the best time in the South. I released a record with another project I'm doing, Team Legat. We also played here with the guys from the Random Trip like a month ago. And I'm also teaching on university in Vienna. So, and preparing, you know, if it's a big break, if you prepare a record, you know, it's like 1.5 years before the release, you already get together and write the song. So it's not like, it seems to be a long break, but you know, with the preparation of doing a record, for us, it's not that long of a break, you know.
I mean, for me, that's such an open question, because the differences are, I mean, really, when I come here, I hear the same records that I hear in New York on the radio here. So I wish that I could say to you that some of the artists that come from the country that you know, they're from making that music, that country supported them a bit more, you know, and that I find has not really been the case. It's the same all over. I'm sure I could turn on the radio here and probably over 50% of the songs would be from the States also. So, I mean, the difference, I have to say, is not much. It's you know, I would like to see some more independent artists and more local artists supported by their radio stations of their country, of their, you know, because they do need the support. And I think it's, you know, rubbish to think that like only good stuff is coming from there or from there or from there. You have some great undiscovered talent out there and some independent artists that are, you know, really phenomenal, and you don't get to see or hear them, unfortunately, like they should be.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, if I think back in my musical upbringing, you know, I grew up with the same Beatles, Rolling Stones, Jimi Hendrix records as a kid the same age as me in the Middle West. He would probably buy the same record at the same time, because the globalization in the music industry started way back in the 40s, 50s. You could get records all over the world at the same time. So, I mean, it's not a big difference if you grow up in the States. You probably hear the same music. That's what she mentions, it's the same stuff. And also, if you see it, look at festival lineups, it's just the same bands traveling all over the planet, So I think there's not a big difference. Maybe the exposure you get in the States, once you really make it, it's much bigger, Then in Europe, it's a little bit more complicated, especially for me as an artist from Austria with an Austrian record company, because it's just a very small country. From here to penetrate other markets, that's really difficult. But in terms of making music or sounding international, I can see no difference. Acid Jazz was just a label for Northern Soul, like Acid Jazz was like a movement based in London. But if you look at the sources of what the people, the input of the people, it was just soul and funk. That was just a mixture of that kind of music, and they labeled it acid jazz. So if we play festivals, we mainly, like in Wiesn, the last time, it was a jazz blues festival, but it had on the bill Count Basie, Incognito, Jamiroquai. So you see, it's not acid jazz anymore, it's just jazz blues, whatever you name the festival. But it's the same bands playing like 20 years ago. Yeah.
But at the root of it, it's always, to me, the rudiments of it always come back to a soul root.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
A soulful root.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, could you see us on a rock festival?
No.
Probably not.
No.
But as far as like any other ones, we would fit. We would fit in a jazz festival. We would fit in because the root of the soul brings us to jazz. We would fit in a soul, festival. It's not all that. When you hear the music, it still has so many parts to it that are appealing, that touch on many things, and that's what that's art.
When you're producing songs, you work with like electronics or with drum loops and stuff, but mainly we replaced it with real musicians. So I think that's part of the sound, of the band. We have like real guys playing and not like fiddling around on a computer too much, So the record is mainly handmade. I mean, of course you have certain aspects of electronic, but it's not at all electronic music. It's not at all.
Right.
Really important is a mastery of the instrument, like having some skills on the instrument, but it's always one of the main issue is like performing. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in, it's just not, I mean, it's different students, some students, they only want to play guitar. They don't mind about their own music or writing stuff. It's just like, mastering the instrument. That's totally to respect, but on the other hand, there's also this creative process that I think is important as an artist, like creating music, writing music, be able to, I don't know, maybe produce the music also. So, and for performing artists, I think the most important thing is to be really present as an artist, not only master an instrument and stand back there, just to be present and have a good sound and, touch people here, that's very one of the main issues. We're releasing the record right now, and we're planning a tour for the autumn. But it's always like you release the record, you see how far you get with the radio singles. Once the singles penetrate the radio, the booking is much easier. Once you heard on the radio, people can listen to you, then they might come to your shows, and so you create, your audience. But now we released one single, and now the second single is coming, and then we'll see how far it will bring. It's always like a process. To be out there on the road without the record or the support of radio stations, it's really difficult. I mean, it's possible. There's a lot of rock bands out there. But they don't have even radio stations. Their music played by radio stations. So you have the internet and a lot of possibilities now to spread your and to attract people, your audience. But I mean, it's helpful if you have like media behind you.
Yeah, because of that number one that he had for so many weeks, that was really helpful. And then they have a really, at the same time, they have a very good like a cult following, because whenever we post something, you see people out of Chicago or anywhere. Wow, when is Count Basic coming to the States? And you don't realize how many people you actually do touch, because I'm in my little tube, so you don't think, oh, this kid in Albuquerque, New Mexico is getting his hands on one of our records or whatever, and it's like, oh wow, and that's just underground through word of mouth or. So it's phenomenal. Yeah, Vienna.
No, but we also played Russia, actually. We played Russia twice. We've been to Russia on a Russian tour. So, I mean, Austria, of course, is like the main thing, but it's a small country. We will see how far it will bring, I'm quite confident with the new record. We didn't play in the States.
It didn't happen yet.
No.
No,
we were
that's
just
what I'm saying.
penetrating the radio.
We have
It's a
yet to
shame,
play
yeah.
the States, but
Yeah,
we
right.
will do it. And when we do it, then I guess we'll determine if we're gonna, split it up or take everyone with us, maybe.
We will see. I mean, it's just a matter of costs, Probably it's easier to work with local musicians because you don't have the flight costs then, or maybe bring just
we'll bring
really,
we'll bring our whole band. We'll
yes,
bring the whole band.
I hope so.
No, we will bring the whole band.
We'll
make it happen.
That. Yes.
Because I'd like, I would like to think we would bring them all. You asked also what we're doing when we're not doing Count Basic. I have my own solo CDs out also. So in the interim, that's what I'm doing is he's doing his side projects, I'm doing my side projects. And then it's good. I like when we work with other people because when we come back, we have another perspective to bring into our bed, so to speak. So I like the classics. Like everybody, I love, the classic Gladys Knight, Stevie Wonder, all the classic singers. I like the singers that told great stories, and I felt like I was right there when they, what I mean? Like I'm in their living room. I feel that way. So I think Beyonce is probably the Diana Ross of our time. Mm-hmm. That's what I think. Is like as far as like. If you could think back, it used to be like Diana Ross or Tina Turner. We had a few ladies that were in a few guys. Our Michael Jackson of today might be Justin Timberlake or Usher. They're fitting those seats of that time. I'm feeling so. When I get enough money, I'll have places in many places. I can't be in one place, but I'm open to a few places.
Exactly. Actually, that's a quite good mixture of, like in the first set, we're doing like a couple of hits we had in the past. And since we have the new record out, we already included 4 or 5 songs from the new record because we like them so much.
Yeah, and we want to bring it to the people.
Deliver them as quickly as possible, so we choose a couple of songs from the record. So it's a good mixture of old songs and
new stuff. And I think what they can expect tonight is to have a really good time, a high energy show that just lets you forget about all the crap that's going on in your life.